Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of the summit, where we're going to be spotlighting transformative ideas and the people driving change. And as usual, I am your host, Martina Avera. Now, tonight we're going to turn the spotlight on Rwanda's digital future, which is a future anchored in innovation, entrepreneurship, as well as inclusive employment. As the country pushes forward the Vision 2050 and National Strategy for Transformation, one program is standing out for its impact on the youth, which is Innovate4DigiJobs. So launched by the International Labour Organization in collaboration with the Rwanda ICT Chamber, this initiative is accelerating the digital transformation by nurturing youth-driven innovation, enhancing digital skills, as well as creating decent jobs across the country, especially in secondary cities where opportunity and innovation are converging. Joining us tonight to break this down are two distinguished guests deeply embedded in this mission. I'll start by Fatima Ali, who is a project manager at the International Labour Organization, who is also a key partner behind the push for decent jobs in the digital economy. You're welcome.
Thank you for hosting us today, Martina.
Yes, and we also have none other than Nari Alex, the CEO of the Rwanda ICT Chamber, a hub at the heart of Rwanda's tech ecosystem. You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So together we're going to be exploring tonight's topic, Innovate4DigiJobs, as well as boosting jobs and enhancing skills in Rwanda's digital economy. Now, we're going to be asking ourselves a series of questions. How can we make sure no young person is left behind in this transformation? What innovations are already making a difference in today's digital economy? And how can Rwanda's youth become not just job seekers, but job creators, especially in today's digital age? So I'm going to be starting off with you, Fatima. In your view, or as the person spearheading this challenge and initiative, what is Innovate4DigiJobs, and how is it designed to drive inclusive digital job creation across the country?
Thank you again for hosting us, Martina. So I'll give you a quick brief about the Innovate4DigiJobs. So this is one of the many initiatives that the International Labour Organization has in Rwanda. And maybe I give a quick background also about the International Labour Organization. It is a UN agency that has a mandate on promoting for decent jobs and social protection for all workers globally. The organization has been established in 1919, so then it has been promoting for this mandate for more than 100 years. In Rwanda, our office in Rwanda has multiple projects that work across these mandates in the digital economy, green economy, as well in the agriculture sector, as well as promoting for the social protection, inclusion of workers in the informal sector. So then this innovation challenge comes as part of our boosting decent jobs, enhancing skills for the youth in Rwanda's digital economy. It's a 4-year project funded by government of Luxembourg, and we have multiple interventions across supporting enterprises to digitalize their processes, but also reaching the youth with market-demanded digital skills to lead to employment. So then back to the innovation challenge, it is an intervention that we are delivering under the leadership of Ministry of ICT and Innovation and in partnership with the ICT Chamber. So then it's a competition that we target differently. So usually competitions target entrepreneurs, but for us here we target institutions. So we target TVET institutions, business development service providers, community benefit companies that have social solutions that are digital, as well as cooperatives that have digital solutions. So in a sense, we want to reach to these institutions, see if they have any solutions that are contributing to the employment of youth in the digital sector, and we have been traveling across the country, so we work of course in Kigali, but in 7 other districts, and trying to basically scour sort of the ecosystem for innovative ideas that lead to rapid deployment in the digital space. The deadline of the competition is 27th June. The total of award is $200,000. That will be divided between 3 to 5 winners, depending on the ideas that we get. So we encourage our audience who are relevant, who work for these institutions, to look into the details of the competition as part that is basically detailed in the ICT Chamber's website.
Yeah, and if I may ask, how can you say the deadline to be part of this challenge is 27th June? How does one get to be part of the challenge? How can one take part? And yes, in that manner.
So if any of the audience are from one of the institutions that we work in, that we are targeting, and they have basically a program that either has sort of trains on digital skills or supporting enterprises in digital, so that can be through training, mentoring, coaching, or even like supporting access to finance. So if anyone from the audience work in these institutions, then there are sort of on the ICT Chamber website, there are the application forms. So they have to submit a technical proposal detailing their idea. Ideally, it should be something that they've piloted before, even at a micro level. So if they did a small sort of training program targeting 10-15, it's okay. The whole goal of the competition is to support them scale these ideas and ensure that they have sort of a sustainable business model that ensures they also get to roll out this program independently, basically.
Thank you for that. Now, this question goes to you, Alex, but we'll get back to you in terms of ILO. What role does the ICT Chamber have in this initiative, and how do the contributions strengthen Rwanda's innovation ecosystem?
Thank you very much. So, in this initiative, maybe just a little bit background what the ICT Chamber is. It's an umbrella body for IT or ICT companies. But as we all know today, that ICT has literally penetrated almost every other sector. And the business service development sectors, or TVET, or even NGO sectors categories have not been left behind. So our role here is we play two roles. One is a convening power, being able to identify, support ILO, but also the entrepreneurs and the organization, the institutions that are competing, to be able to help them identify them where they are, but also provide an implementation kind of support mechanism. Now, as Fatma mentioned, this is a collaboration. It's a partnership with the government through the Ministry of ICT and Innovation. Most of us are familiar with the Hunger Pitch Fest competition. Actually, this is one of the initiatives that was announced at last year's Hunger Pitch Fest. And the aim being that we're realizing that the digital economy is bigger than just ICT, that innovation is not restricted and contained only in the ICT sector. The ICT sector plays a big role, but it's not the only. And we believe that there are young people outside Kigali. I think that's the other focus, beyond Kigali, because a lot of work has for most part, concentrated in Kigali. Innovation, or even when we talk about digital jobs, most of them have concentrated in Kigali. And we believe that there are young people and organizations out there that are doing amazing work that we've not yet got to know. And this effort, this challenge, is one of that discovery mechanisms for us to be able to see, okay, identify, see what may be some of the amazing things that they are doing to promote the digital economy. But it's also our role is also to try and align and provide that platform for scaling. Okay, as you know, we're part of the broader private sector federation, and that platform in itself, if there are institutions that are out there that are doing amazing work that could plug into this network, that means also more jobs can be created. In the past, most of these competitions, as probably actually she alluded to it, that they've mostly focused on entrepreneurs, and mostly you will see the entrepreneurs that are looking for primarily looking for profit, and we're all for profit. We support that, but we also realize that there are those that are trying to balance the social mission with a sustainability agenda, and we want to identify them. The NST2 targets strategy has a lot of focus on digital jobs, on digital scaling. So this is really where the alignment comes in, and then leverage the infrastructure that has gone in partnership with RISA. I think most of us are aware, RISA and Mini ICT with the funding from EU. There's now over 6 hunger hubs across the country, and leveraging that infrastructure. That infrastructure was there so that we're able to identify these people that are doing amazing works outside Kigali. So that's in a nutshell. I don't know if that's even a nutshell, but in a nutshell, that's the ICT Chamber's role. Be there, facilitate these transforming organizations, work together hand in hand with ILO, learn from the best practices that they bring from in the labor market space, so that we can scale them to our communities.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And back to you, Fatma. The International Labour Organization is in partnership with the Rwanda ICT Chamber. What is ILO's specific role in terms of bringing this initiative to life, and as well as bridging that digital gap?
So then the ILO has been rolling out this innovation challenge across the region in many countries under different projects. So then we have found usually that when we work across through the ecosystem that is there, so we work with institutions that are either TVET, colleges and schools, or the business development service providers. So in a sense, that ensures that whatever funds that are received lead to initiatives and programs that are sustainable. So rather than targeting few, let's say 10, 15 entrepreneurs win in a competition. So instead here, the awards once received by these institutions, they will be developing programs to reach hundreds of young people for years to come. And part of that, what we bring in, of course, is our technical expertise, benchmarking also, and seeing how some of these solutions can be exported across the region. So maybe you have a specific sort of, you build a digital training course that is not available across the region. So then this TVET school or college, for example, gets to also reach sort of additional countries and promote for Rwanda's digital expertise in this space. So that is where what we add, sort of bringing in, replicating this experience, and then the technical expertise.
Yes, thank you for that. And what kinds of digital solutions are you expecting to see from businesses, business service providers such as TVET, institutions, NGOs, social enterprises, and why is their participation essential, especially to the success of the Innovate4DigiJobs, the whole challenge? Yeah, so then the innovations that we think will come for example, let me start with business development service providers. Of course, they provide their services across many sectors, so it's not only the ICT sector, it could be agriculture, trade, what else there, mining, and so on. So then digital cuts across all of these sectors in a sense, and there is of course the targets of 1.25 million jobs in the next 5 years. That's around 500K, right, per year. So then when we work with these institutions and look at the digital angle, not in the ICT sector only, but across all of the sectors, that ensure that we actually, the country can hit these sort of targets, but also considering the digital transformation agenda as part of that. So some of the ideas we're looking for example, a business development service provider working with a cooperative in the agriculture sector could come with a solution on using virtual reality, maybe for, weather forecasting, maybe for, checking the soil fertility and so on. So then ideally those who are applying for the competition should think out of the box. So it shouldn't be only like the traditional ICT sort of software development, cybersecurity, although that is encouraged, but then think beyond what are the key economic sectors in Rwanda that are employing people in the millions. So then how can we digitalize also these sectors so they are not left behind? Thank you for that. Back to you, Mr. Alex. What long-term impact does Innovate4DigiJobs aim to achieve, and how can today's partners and applicants become part of the national movement for digital employment, especially in the way of bridging that digital gap, especially for the youth?
Thank you. So the long-term impact here really is that that we anticipate is that, one, discovery, because most of the time, what these kind of organizations that are being targeted lack is visibility, is people knowing what the amazing work they're doing, okay? And once anything is given, something valuable is given visibility, more value is created. And that could be through the support grants or funding that is going to come with the program, or through the different technical support, technical assistance that is going to come with that, to expand, scale the type of work that the organizations are doing. But more importantly, the alignment to national priorities, but also to sector priorities. Okay, as the ICT sector, we already know, we already see that that at least within the NST2 targets, one of those is training, scaling up to 1 million young people with digital skills, or even advanced digital skills of up to 500,000. And that means that once they are skilled, then what? Okay, then they're looking for employment, and that's hence the focus on digital innovation, Innovate4DigiJobs, because once these are aligned, you have the skilling, the digital literacy, or whatever level it is at, then what? Then I'm looking for a job. And what we're trying to do with the program is that, okay, let's also prepare these other areas. Let's also prepare and work with the institutions that are innovating around job creation, so that once they have been skilled, then they have somewhere to go. In the long term, we believe that that creates a ripple effect. One, today we only have, particularly for this, we have ILO supporting. Maybe other partners will also come on board, and that could further also expand. And that doesn't mean it's only philanthropic partners, it's also private sector partners. Last week we were launching a program with MTN at in Rwanda, the Hunger Hub, with their CSI, the Corporate Social Investment program that they run annually. So you realize that especially for ICT companies, for digital companies, we need a digital literate population for us to sell our products. Okay, so we need these people equipped. We need awareness. Even awareness we're producing, or our companies, our member companies, help us to not only stay in the city, not only work with people that are exposed or a certain group, but rather we're able to go down to the grassroots and are touching the actual Rwandans that maybe for some time may have been left out.
Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, of course, as a Rwanda ICT Chamber, especially trying to bring this initiative to life and to the Rwandans, some market research might have been done. You did speak about the digital literacy, especially here in Rwanda. How could you describe its progress? And do you see the growth in terms of the youth exploring the digital economy today? Are they more aware of the digital economy and how it works and how they can be able to tap into that energy?
Yes. So over the years, what we have seen is that knowledge has grown in Kigali. I think programs like Hunger Pitch Fest and several others, if you went to, for example, if you went to Nyarugenge, Nosken, you'll find quite a number of young people there. But beyond that, now we're asking ourselves, and I think actually that was one of the questions behind setting up Hunger Hubs. Okay, do we have, or how do we build this same enthusiasm and appetite and innovative spirit and culture in the rural, in secondary cities, outside Kigali, so that we are able to build an equitable community that is sharing in this development. So in Kigali, what we've seen is that, yes, they're adopting highly. I mean, some of the best performing companies are placing, I think the last time I checked with one of the companies, they had placed over 1,000 young people into jobs. Okay, and this is a startup, a company that is just started by a young person who realized that, the internet levels the playing field. I can tap into global labor markets. I can tap into remote work. But I not only tap into it for myself, I tap into that and extend it to my community, and has been able to create those jobs for the within the community. And now the effort is to say, what if it could be scaled? What if this could actually work in a place like Nyamagabe, in a place like Nyaruguru? What if it could work for someone who is in Rubavu, and they are working maybe on a global platform, or they are working remotely for a Kigali-based company, or they're actually, as Fatma said, it's not just digital programming. They are applying these digital skills, advisory services with farmers or with cooperatives, and so on and so forth. So the appetite is there. When we put out applications, especially since the question is on young people, when we put out applications for trainings, for awareness, for opportunities, we see thousands, thousands applying. What it's the signaling to us is that the hunger is there, the appetite is there, but how do we now make sure that it is equitable and that it's reaching everyone, and that those opportunities are actually also there? So not just to assume and just leave it, I mean, like the best one survives or something like that, but rather we curate and see how best we really bring these opportunities to them.
Thank you very much for that. Back to you, Fatma. Now, behind every great initiative, unfortunately, sometimes there are obstacles that may occur, especially during the journey of bringing it to life. Now, what are some of the challenges that the Innovate4DigiJobs team facing in identifying and engaging the right applicants, such as business service providers, TVET institutions, NGOs, and social enterprises, despite their critical role in scaling up the digital job solutions?
Thank you. So far, I wouldn't say that there are many challenges. We are just starting, the process of getting the ideas and pilots and all of that. But where we think, that the audience would be interested in applying for this, it's important that the ideas or the pilots that we get are informed by the context where they are. So, for example, if they are in Rusizi or in Ruhanga, don't design or try to see how to extend your pilot into, for example, the bigger cities. No, think about how to scale it within your community, within your city, to also reach the youth all across the country. So ideally, we would want pilots and ideas that are contextualized to your community. So ideally, that is reflected as part of the applications. It's important also that these ideas, and maybe that's why also this partnership with ICT Chamber, is that it's also thinks into the sustainable sustainability. So what is your business model to ensure that, okay, you'll get a grant as part of this ILO ICT Chamber competition, but then ideally this pilot or this initiative shouldn't be dependent on external funds. So this is also an idea where it's important for us to be engaging with them so far to highlight that as part of your application. How is this sustainable? What is your business model? Of course, it will not be purely for profit, because as part of this we target non-for-profits, but then there is a space where you can have a social sort of goal, but also ensure that you're getting revenue to ensure that your operations are ongoing. And then they have to ensure that it's also context sort of specific, so a solution to improve and strengthen the employment at their cities and communities.
Yes, and you did speak on making sure that those that are bringing these business ideas step out of their comfort zone and look elsewhere, especially if they're trying to make a difference. Could you describe the importance of stepping out of their comfort zone and not tapping into what is necessarily or what is normally being brought to the table in terms of business ideas?
So that's a good question. So indeed, in terms of entrepreneurship in general, like you have to train your brain in a sense to look into where are the opportunities. So rather than looking into what your neighbor is doing or your friend or someone in Kigali is doing, look into the opportunities. So in your community, you see there is a problem, for example, in terms of e-commerce across the districts, for example. So then why don't you try to resolve that problem? Why can't your solution be sort of piloting sort of an initiative, maybe some sort of training through the business development services that addresses this issue? And if no one is addressing that at the community level, then this is a opportunity for you, of course, to promote for the social impact, but also to ensure that there is demand. And of course, there has to be demand. So that's another point. So then if there is demand at your community or sort of district, then you'll ensure that some revenues will be coming in, and then you can have some sort of level of independence in terms of ensuring your program can be running for years to come. And to be honest, there are many ideas and great pilots that we've been seeing already. So we traveled across maybe 5-6 districts so far. And young people will come to you and tell you, I have this idea, I got a bit of funding, and they are very sort of resourceful also in terms of how, they get resources. So they'll, pitch their ideas, and many of these have social impact, and to address some issues that they have at the grassroots level in a sense. So there are some ideas, but then how they can apply as part of this competition, maybe because we target non-for-profits, maybe they can partner with the TVET school in their community to design a program that addresses this program. So also this is another area where we would accept consortium. So even if you have a business for profit but still has a social impact but registered as a business, you can partner with either a public business development service provider or a TVET school or college.
Thank you for that. Back to you, Mr. Alex. What could be the long-term impact on Rwanda's efforts to build an inclusive digital economy and reduce the youth unemployment?
Yeah, I think the long-term impact, I've talked about it in terms of how this becomes scalable and so on. But the key thing besides discovery is also the partnerships. I think Fatma just alluded to it or touched it, the fact that just because today maybe you've been focusing on the for-profit side, but you can partner with business development, BDS, with a business development service organization or an NGO, and together these kind of collaborations we believe are able to now build more resilient solutions and interventions. One, yes, for job creation for the young people in their communities, but also two are better than one. And a consortium that comes together, each bringing in an angle. For example, if you're a farmer cooperative and we are a digital, purely software development organization, and there's another one maybe that is great at training. Okay, so you now have three parties that are solving more or less the same unemployment problem, but from different angles, because that problem is not only one-sided. it has a literacy angle to it. It's a digital, whether it's digital literacy or access to devices or even connectivity in that matter. Several things are coming, and usually where we have seen organizations or entities or even let me call it small players coming together, they are stronger, and those we believe that are not just going to be for competition purposes only, but will also be laying the foundations for long-term partnerships, long-term collaborations that can really go on to solve real problems in the communities.
Thank you for that. And Fatma, you spoke about how this initiative has been running in different regions, and it is finally being brought into the country. Why was it important to put Rwanda on the map in terms of adding it to the countries that can be able to have such an initiative running in it?
So the ambition around becoming the African hub in technology is quite clear. It has been an agenda that is ongoing for a couple of years. That is now strengthened with the priorities under the NST2 in terms of the digital transformation. It's also quite detailed in terms of the the targets that are all the partners have to work together to achieve. So that clarity, of course, in terms of vision, is quite important for also UN agencies and other development partners when they want to come in a country and contribute to the development space. So that is quite important, and that makes it more sort of how can I say? So it makes it more operationally feasible to achieve sort of the targets that an organization is aiming for. So I say the clarity in vision, and of course the ecosystem. So you'd know that Rwanda is one of the countries that are the easiest in terms of starting a business. The infrastructure is also excellent in terms of outreach across the country. So then all of the sort of foundation is there for us to build this intervention and work with the institutions that are already there also, because the business development service providers, the TVET schools and colleges already there, they have their digital programs, so then it makes it easier to scale our programs and contribute to the big ambition in terms of the results.
Thank you for that. Mr. Alex, when we speak about digital literacy and increasing that here in the country, one might bring about inclusivity. Now, speaking of those in the rural areas, people with disabilities and also women, how is this initiative or challenge going to be catering to people in the rural areas who still need that extra push in terms of understanding the whole digital economy, understanding how it works, the nitty-gritty details of it, as well as giving women equal access to such information, as well as people with disabilities?
Yeah, so inclusion is big, actually. If you look at some of the factors and some of the key things, social impact factors that are being targeted, this is this closing that gap, the digital gap is one of them. But besides this program, maybe I would also want to highlight that there are other programs and other initiatives that are targeting to make sure that we're not leaving, no one is left behind. Earlier on, I pointed out the hunger hubs as an example of initiatives that are they're not necessarily deep in the rural areas, but they are also outside the capital, outside Kigali. At least to date, we have 6. And on top of that, there are other innovation and other youth centers. So the issue or the challenge in terms of closing the gap, especially for women and for people with disabilities. We have a program on Twagiye Cashless that has been for the last 3 years really working with different technology companies, but also digital financial service providers on campaigns that are targeting to make sure that no one is left behind, providing trainings. We have some of the companies that have been onboarding women in e-commerce platforms. We're working with DCO, the Digital Cooperation Organization, again, in providing training, digital literacy for e-commerce for traders, women traders. We've worked with other UN agencies, UNDP in particular, and the ministry on cross-border traders, training them again digital literacy, but specifically because we're a trade support organization, how can they use these digital tools for trading purposes in Rubavu, as well as in Rusizi. And today, as we speak, we also have training programs that are going on at K-Lab and Fab Lab, just training up developers, young female developers, engineers, software engineers, to really get these skills so that they will be developing the solutions that also help in closing this gap. So it's not just at the end user consumer side, it's also at the producer side. So otherwise you create biases within the products that you develop if you do not have it balanced out from both sides.
Yeah. And to complement that, I think also this could be a comparative advantage of some of the applications that we get. So then if you have a program that you design specifically for people with special needs, and then you detail what are the maybe different equipment that you need. So all of these are areas where people also can think outside of the box. So we say youth, but then youth, you know, there are many subcategories under that. So then people can think in that space as well.
Sure, thank you. And you did speak about a $200,000 prize for the winner, but how is ILO ensuring that participating organizations go beyond the ideation part of the process and actually implement solutions that impact young people's lives?
So then ideally we are not looking for ideas, we're looking for pilots, even if they are really, really small, because also that helps them reflect the impact that they have achieved. So if they tried it with a small group of 10 to 15 youth somewhere across the country, then they can see here are the results. This led to, for example, 50% employment and so on. So it's important for us also, and the applications ideally should reflect that this is the impact that was achieved, even if it's a very small pilot. So in a sense, that would be the preference, also to ensure that the funds, you know, because sometimes moving from ideation to actually testing sort of whether this model works, whether there's demand, also it's not something that you are only thinking of. That's also important. So whenever you test an idea, you'll come up with some also idea, sort of feedback saying, okay, this doesn't work, I need to change this. So then we are supporting them to go another step rather than just, you know, moving from ideation to basically operationalization. And there are many other competitions that are in that space. So we thought, okay, let's complement the efforts that are ongoing so far.
Yes. So for one to apply or to be eligible, they need to have reached a certain stage in terms of having a pilot phase and go beyond the ideation part.
Yes, ideally you have the applicant have tried it even once for a very small group, but then collected a bit of feedback to basically also make the idea richer and more, you know, practical in a sense.
Okay, and as we kind of draw near to the end of the conversation, for those potential applicants who are watching, Mr. Alex, what information can you give them in terms of them knowing that this is a possibility for them to be part of the challenge, and just in terms of a motivation, because this is an initiative or a challenge that is created to bridge the digital gap, as well as bring more people to join the digital economy. So how can we move forward, and for those who are listening?
So I'll touch two things. One, Kinyarwanda proverb, ntukiyime ukwimahari. So one, don't deny yourself an opportunity to participate, especially if you have a solution that could respond to some of these challenges, to the unemployment challenge that we have. But two, a quote from what His Excellency, the President, gave during a youth gathering, that when you see opportunity, chase it. Okay? If it goes under the table, go there. Because failure and everything else that is working against you is chasing you. So this is an opportunity. Whoever is watching, don't think it is for someone else. But if you know someone, please recommend if you don't have anything. But if you have something and you're working in this space, it is not for someone else. It is yours. So go get it. And lastly, partner. Okay. We go together. I think, again, His Excellency said that if you want to go fast, go alone. That's what the proverb says. If you want to go far, go together. But he's always encouraged us that we want to go far and fast. Okay, so to go far and fast, we need to work together and have uniqueness, bring something unique to the table and create value, because people will always pay for value.
Thank you. And same question goes to you, Fatma.
The question.
Yes, in terms of bringing people to apply to the challenge, and for them to understand the importance of bridging this digital gap, joining the digital economy. And this is where the world is headed. Digital literacy is very important. We need to continue to create awareness. What message would you have for someone out there who is looking for that extra push to join the initiative?
So then, in a sense, the infrastructure, let me start with that.
Yes.
The infrastructure is excellent. So as a young person or as someone working with them in some of these institutions across the country, you have this wave of change, going through the country and then across the globe as well. And it's going really fast with the AI and everything. You see how everything is changing. So then if you don't take this sort of opportunity that is there with the sort of the government priority, it's very clear, which basically bring in all of the development partners, the donors and so on. So then that means that there is momentum already. So it's ideal to take this opportunity to build on this momentum, and then also address some of the social priorities that you see in your community. You shouldn't, as a young person or a person working in one of these institutions, to think of, let me leave, let me look for better opportunities, although that is fair enough. But then also there's some added value that you can do in your community using the new technologies that are coming in. And we got many amazing ideas, but then how to move that from ideation to actually operationalizing it, test it, and come up as part of this competition with some of the feedback that you got. So then we work together to scale some of these pilots.
Thank you very much. And we have come to the end of this conversation and tonight's episode of the summit. And we have heard that the digital innovation isn't just about technology. It's about the people. It's about coming together and creating solutions for today's digital disparities. And we are all about equipping young people, young Rwandans, with the tools, the skills, and the support that they need to thrive in a rapidly evolving digital economy, like we have been able to discuss. And a huge thank you to our guests, Nali Alex from Rwanda ICT Chamber. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And Fatima Ali from the International Labour Organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin.
Your insights and powerful reminder that a partnership and real change can be able to be at the forefront of tapping into the digital economy. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, and as Rwanda continues to invest in the youth-driven innovation programs like Innovate4DigiJobs, this shows us that everything is possible in terms of bringing about bold vision, which is going to be able to meet real opportunity. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in on the conversation. Let's continue to innovate and be part of tomorrow's change. Good night. Stay safe.